translation works on Salesforce records, the Salesforce community, on Formyoula surveys, and non-Salesforce sites. So for the first example, I'm looking at an account page on Salesforce where some of the fields are in Japanese. For example, the account name and the description and the address. So here on the second tab, where I have translation enabled, I can see that the text is translated into English from Japanese. Just to demonstrate how it works, I'll reload the page. And as the page loads, the text is translated to the language that I've selected on my Salesforce. So for example, in my case, it's English, and all the fields that are not in English are translated automatically from the other language. And if I jump to another account page, and here, for example, everything is in English, so I don't need, it doesn't have to be translated. If I reload the page, it's going to stay in English. And if I, for example, change my locale, so we've configured so it uses the locale, I'll change it to South Korean, and I'll save, and I'll go back to the page and reload. So now we can see that all the account fields are translated to South Korean language, and any other language that would be on page, so it can be a mix of different languages, it would be translated to the language of choice on my Salesforce profile. Again, you can translate not only account detail pages, you can translate the homepage, reports, and other custom pages on Salesforce. In the next example, we'll switch over to the Salesforce community, where I have a post and a question in Japanese, and I want to make sure that it is automatically translated to the language of my profile. I'll switch over to the second page where a translation is enabled, and I can see that it is translated into English. And if I hover over, I can see the original language. Again, if I reload the page, I will see the text automatically translated into my language. For another example, for the homepage has some default text on it. So if you don't want to automatically or manually translate the text for many different languages, so you can set it up so that if I switch my language or locale, and if I go back to the community page, it will be automatically translated into the language of the user. So I have complete control over what buttons and labels are translated into the user's language. Now, if I switch over to Formyoula and I run a Formyoula form, here we have the option to translate all the fields, labels, and options into a specific language. So we can choose what information is translated. So here we're translating all the text on the page, and I can quickly switch through different languages and it will be automatically translated. The form itself has been built in English, and all the labels and options are set in English. In the other example, I can run the form if my language is set to English. I see everything in English, and if I save the form as a draft, switch over, and if I switch my Formyoula language to Ukrainian, I can see that all the options and settings have changed to Ukrainian. And if I run the form, I can see that all the labels and text is automatically translated for me, and all the options are set in the Ukrainian language. So again, if I save it as a draft and go back and try another language, for example, Portuguese, all the options automatically switch to Portuguese. And if I run the form again, I can see all the text is translated into Portuguese. So you can create the form and the default language can be English, and then you can automatically deploy this to many different countries with the native language support. And in the last example, on a non-Salesforce site where Formyoula translation is enabled, we can add it as a manual translation where I can look at the post and the question, and I can choose what language I want to translate it to. So for example, here, I want to translate it to English. So I can see here that it automatically translates the text on the page into English. Or for example, here I have another post where it is in English, but I want to translate it to another language. So I'll choose Japanese. and I can see that all the text is translated into Japanese, and you can configure that all the comments and all the other information is translated into the language of choice. Thank you for watching, and please let us know if you need any help with the translation setup, and we'll be very happy to help you.